pretty special Cronkite Sports Live basketball edition. He's Chancellor Johnson. I'm Eliav Gabay, and Chance, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I'm not talking about Hanukkah or Christmas. It's college basketball season, baby.
Yes, it is, and we have a loaded show, including exclusive interviews with both head coaches, in-depth analysis from our talented cover team, and more.
And we're going to start things off with the men's exhibition against Arizona Christian University, where our videographer Tyler Mannion was there for the blowout coverage.
The Sun Devils of Arizona State University.
As they took the court in front of a crowd for the first time this season, the team dubbed Big Guard U was ready to jump right into the action. With Arizona Christian on the docket, the Sun Devils' fresh faces looked to start their careers in Tempe strong. With Remy Martin in sweats, the point guard spot was filled by multiple players, including 6'8" Zylan Cheatham, who will excite ASU fans all throughout the season with moments like these. Elsewhere on the court, big-time recruits Lugan's Dort, Tayshaun Cherry, and Kamani Lawrence all showed flashes of who they can be for this Sun Devils team, as they will be vital for the season ahead. Although the game had no true implications, there were signs for concern. ASU made just 8 of 29 three-pointers while allowing 16 to their opponents.
I mean, they shot a lot of threes. They shot 49 threes, so I mean, that's kind of tough. The team gonna make a couple if they shoot 49. They gotta make some.
When all was said and done, the bench was emptied and ASU came out with a 104-76 victory. Although his Sun Devil team had 6 players score in double figures, Coach Bobby Hurley was not happy with his team's performance on the night. When asked about what positives he could take away from the game, Hurley answered with this.
The lights were on here, and you know, our players were out there in a uniform, and you know, we had warm-ups. And
from Wells Fargo Arena, Tyler Mannion, Cronkite Sports.
Bobby Hurley, otherwise known as Bobby Bleeping Hurley by John Rothstein, is entering into his 4th year as head coach. Over those 4 seasons, he's holding some of the country's top recruits, taking down a few of the nation's notable programs, filled up the seats at Wells Fargo Arena, and led ASU to its first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2014. But for those who've been paying attention, know that there's been a few bumps in the road. I sat down with ASU's head coach to discuss this and more. Arizona State men's basketball head coach Bobby Hurley, year number 4. When you hear me say that, how does that sound to you?
time flies. It goes quick, and you know, just coming off a really good year, and just been working very hard. The guys have been progressing well, so it's just it's fun. There's a lot of hope for the future and what we're doing.
I want to take it back to last year. Obviously, we know it was a roller coaster of a season. What would you do differently if you could do it over again?
Not much, because I think those guys really, poured their heart and soul into everything they did, and on a great ride, especially in the non-conference, and where we were able to take the program was special, and we didn't get the results that we hoped for in the league, and we talk more about that as a coaching staff with this group about just our performance in the Pac-12, but it was great to break new ground. The first time for me here at Arizona State going to the NCAA tournament.
You've always said that your expectations are always different from everybody else's. Last year, the general consensus was middle of the pack in conference, yet you make the tournament. This year is pretty much the same. So how different are your expectations compared to everyone else's?
I've had some really good teams, and I've had some teams that weren't so good, and I was kind of concerned going into a season. I think with this group, it's more of just trying to keep everyone healthy and injury-free, and see where the potential of this team takes us. But it's very exciting.
Keep it locked to our Cronkite Sports Twitter to catch that full interview coming up on Sunday. As the women's basketball season is ready to tip off, we got the WCSN coverage team together for the latest edition of CSL Conversation.
I think Taya Hansen out of Canada will make the biggest impact. She's a guard, and she's coming off of winning a gold medal with the under-18 Canadian national team, and she'll look to push the tempo for the Sun Devil squad this season.
I think it's going to be Jamie Laura. I think out of Washington, coming from high school, she was a Gatorade Player of the Year nominee for the state, and she took her high school team to the top 5 in the state tournament all 4 years in high school. She's got a proven winning mentality, and that'll bode well with the recent success of this ASU program.
I think Iris Embolita will have a big impact for this team. She was an MVP for the U20 FIBA Spain team this summer in the World Championships, so she's able to really attack the rim very well. She can finish inside, so I think she brings a good scoring presence in the paint.
It's going to be Taya Hansen. She's an incoming freshman. She has an ability to spread the floor, which ASU has not had in recent years. She can shoot the three off the dribble. She can spot up and shoot the three. It brings a really Stephen Curry-like flair to this ASU offense that has been lacking it in recent years.
I think if there's an area in which this team's going to struggle, it's going to be shooting the ball from deep. Last year they were 122nd in the country in three-point field goal percentage, and with most of the roster the same as last year, that could give them trouble.
Overall outside shooting, but I think just in general, they got to play two tough non-conference opponents in Baylor and Louisville. So those are early tests really to truly see how they will do.
They're going to struggle offensively creating a high volume of shots. They're sluggish on defense, which is a good thing. It makes them 39th in scoring defense last season, but they were also outside the top 50 in scoring offense last year. They need to share the wealth, spread the floor, get up a high volume of shots.
I think they'll struggle the most against Pac-12 powerhouses such as Stanford and against their very early competition in Baylor, coming up at the beginning of November.
They'll finish fourth. I think it's going to be Oregon, Stanford, Oregon State, and Arizona State. I think they jump up and improve from 2 spots from last year. They go from 6 to 4 and are able to jump over Cal and UCLA.
I think they're going to come in third. I think Oregon and Stanford have a proven track record of success. It'll be a little tough to leapfrog them in the standings, but I think they can finish ahead of Oregon State, UCLA, and Cal.
In the Pac-12, I think the Sun Devils are going to finish second behind the Stanford Cardinal. I think they'll make it all the way to the Pac-12 championship game, but then I think the Cardinal are going to be just too much for this Sun Devil squad to keep up with.
Finished third in the Pac-12, and the reason is I have them beating Oregon State in Corvallis January 20th. That's really going to decide that third spot. It's going to be Oregon, Stanford, Arizona State, Oregon State, and California, the top 5 finishers this year in the Pac-12.
Take a deeper dive into the women's team. We welcome in WCSN analyst Jack Latteray. Jack, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Chance.
Of course. Now we know ASU is returning all their players from last year. How much of an advantage does that give Coach Charlie Turner-Thorne?
Well, I think that gives Coach Charlie Turner-Thorne and the entire team a huge advantage, and I think specifically on the defensive side. Now, last year, if you look at the stats, when they gave up less than 70 points to opponents, they were 20-7. And if they gave up more than 70, they are 2-6. Oof. And you look at the stats here, they were top of the Pac-12 in most stats. And that gives it a big advantage because they don't have to teach a defense to an entirely new set of people. They have all their people coming back, and they're ready to go.
Yep, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Now, out of those returners who are coming back, who do you see making the biggest impact?
I'm going to have to go with Kiana Iabis. She is a threat on both sides of the court, in the post, behind the three-point line. If we take a look at the film right here, if you see down in the post, she is just a very athletic, talented player. And another big thing is she can hit that mid-range jumper, which is really important when she's down in the post. Another thing she's really good at is moving her feet and making herself an open target. You see right here, we have 2 Arizona defenders in her way. So what's she going to do? She's going to move over to the other side of the key. She's going to take the pass, post up, put it in, quick and easy. And a great thing with her being able to move her feet is being able to help her teammates. You see down here, Courtney Ekmark coming on a little switch play. Iabis is going to screen Ekmark's defender, and with her being a big target that she is, her defender is going to follow her as well, leaving Ekmark wide open for the 3. And as you know with Ekmark, it's lethal when she's open.
You know, you're right. She does so much for this team. And we saw some footage from that U of A game, and we all know fans want to see how they stack up to Arizona. So how do you see that playing out?
Well, I'm going to have to give the advantage to Arizona State this year. Now, the University of Arizona is in relatively the same boat as ASU. They only lost 3 starters as compared to Arizona not losing anyone. But you really see it in the records. ASU was 22-13 last year, where the U of A was 6-24. And you can also see in the points per game, ASU just put up more points. So I think with not losing any starters, I got to give it to ASU.
Jack Latteray with the figures, the film, and the facts.
There's been a lot of uncertainty with Arizona State's athletic success over the years. One of the programs you never have to doubt is the women's basketball team. Over the last 2 decades, head coach Charlie Turner-Thorne has spearheaded one of the most consistent women's basketball programs in the country. And I had the chance to sit down with CTT and talk about her journey, philosophy, and this upcoming season in a special edition of Sun Devil Sit Down. You're 22 at ASU. When you reflect and think about that journey, what stands out to you?
What stands out is just all the people over the years, that I've had a chance to, that have touched my life. Maybe I've touched theirs a little bit. I mean, when I think on all those experiences, I just immediately flash on the different people.
You just mentioned the people that have influenced you. Does someone stand out that inspired you to prepare like that and have that kind of work ethic?
Chris Gabay, when I went to the University of Washington, really our whole defense is predicated on everything I learned there, and I've just continued to grow it, and making people work for every touch, and just outworking people, flustering people, all that stuff from Chris Gabay. So she, to this day, I think I just owe a lot, for that opportunity that she gave me.
Not only are you prepared, but you prepare for the ladies for on and off the court, for life in general. And in that program, horizontal leadership that you have within this team, how do you prepare the ladies for anything that life can throw them?
We want to make sure, that they're managing their time, they're managing their energy, they're managing their emotions, that they're recovering well. There's no multi-million-dollar contract for the women's basketball. I mean, they'll play pro, they'll do great, but we want them to be leaders, in whatever industry or discipline they decide to go into after basketball.
And you've mentioned EQ as part of that, emotional intelligence.
Yes.
So what goes into helping them recognize their own emotional intelligence?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I think athletes come in and they have a really solid self-awareness. So the thing that, you really have to grow in team sports is that social awareness, that ability to look to your left, look to your right, and go, okay, and stay connected, and really just be on the same page.
The mutual respect and sisterhood you have between you and your players, it's less superior, inferior, and more eye to eye. So what was the process of really developing that?
For me, being a great leader is serving. It's being humble. It's helping people. It's me lifting other people up and them being the best that they can be. And so I think that's all we try to do in our coaching staff and the people, is we just try to serve our players, and that's effective leadership.
It's a new season in Tempe, which means a brand new roster. For the latest on the newcomers, here's Jacob Rutner.
Thanks, Chance. The Arizona State men's basketball team put together a performance in 2017 that was impressive, but ended in heartbreak. With the three of that team's most talented players leaving, in Trey Holder, Shannon Evans II, and Cody Justice, it will be up to a group of freshmen to fill in the shoes left by guard U. Lugence Dort, a five-star recruit from Montreal, Canada, will work alongside already established scorer Remy Martin to captain an offense looking to put points on the board early against their opponents. Dort is a powerful guard who will look to force his way towards the basket. Tayshawn Cherry, the team's second five-star freshman, will be what head coach Bobby Hurley calls a, quote, valuable freshman who will get valuable minutes. Cherry uses his 6'8" frame to combine high-octane offense with a power rebounding. The rebound game is incredibly important to the success of this young team, and that operation will be headed up by the 7-foot freshman, Uros Plavsic. Plavsic is the 12th-ranked center in the 2018 player rankings. Finally, rounding out Hurley's list of star-studded newcomers is Elias Voltanen. Voltanen was a 4-star recruit and is currently the number 60 overall player per 24/7 Sports. Last year, he competed in the U17 championship and averaged 14.1 points a game and 4.4 boards. They may have lost big names after last season, but this year it will be up to a group of freshmen looking to put excellence back on the court at the bank.
So many new faces on the men's team, and to break down what to expect from the Fighting Bobby Hurleys this season, we bring in a not-so-new face, but still loved, Harley Year Out, to break that down. And Harley, as we just heard, a lot of new players and in freshmen and just talented additions. So what do you expect from a roster that looks very different?
Yeah, and you mentioned that difference. This team is going to look a lot different than last year's squad, specifically the guard play. You talk about some guys in Trey Holder, Shannon Evans, Cody Justice. The team doesn't have them anymore, so they're going to have a lot more length this season. What they lost in shooting from those guys, they gained in length. And Bobby Hurley, for the first time in his tenure here at ASU, finally has some depth in the forward position here. You want to look at these guys here. 11 players this season that are 6'4" or taller compared to just 6 last year. So again, Bobby Hurley for the first time finally has some depth in the length department.
And now ASU played its first open scrimmage of the season on Tuesday against ACU. So even though it was an absolute blowout, what can you take from such an unbalanced game?
Yeah, and the team was really interested and focused, actually, talk about the defense after the game. Again, they gave up 76 points to ACU. I believe the team shot 49 threes. You want to talk about a guy that was missed? Remy Martin, one of the Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year. He was sorely missing this game, and I think when he returns, that defensive issue will go away. So he's a guy I'm really looking at going forward. Paired with Lugens Dort, this could be one of the best defensive backcourts in the Pac-12, Eliav.
Well, we'll see what they can do this season, but last season, the Sun Devils were ranked as high as 3 before losing in the NCAA tournament's first 4. With this new look roster, what are reasonable expectations?
Reasonable is going to be the key word there. Last season, I don't think anyone saw the Sun Devils reaching number 3 in the nation, receiving first place votes. This season, things are definitely going to simmer down, I believe, and this team will crack the top 25 and hover around there. I don't think they break the top 10, and I think that is more realistic than anything heading into last season.
Well, ASU will kick off its season on Tuesday. Thank you so much, Harley. For all of his content, check out CronkiteSports.com. We spent the show talking about how both ASU basketball teams will look, but there are 11 other teams in each conference that both teams will have to play. For that, we bring in Alex Gall for Impact.
Thanks, Eliav. And as the Arizona State men's and women's teams both shoot for lofty expectations this season, let's take a look at the state of the Conference of Champions, the Pac-12. On the men's side of things, Bobby Hurley and company come into the season on the heels of the program's first NCAA tournament bid since 2014. The guys struggled to find momentum in the Pac-12 a season ago. However, the Pac-12 hasn't received much preseason recognition this year, with only 2 teams cracking the AP Top 25. Of those teams, the Oregon Ducks slide in at number 14 as the Pac-12's highest-ranking team. Peyton Pritchard, Oregon's top scorer from a season ago, returns to a Ducks lineup that adds the number 3 recruiting class in the country. 5-star prospect Bol Bol is expected to make a big impact right away for the Ducks, who are looking to build on last season's NIT berth. The number 21 UCLA Bruins are the only other ranked team in the Pac-12, but have been plagued by preseason injuries that threaten to hurt the team's depth as the season goes on. If ASU is going to make a run in the Pac-12, they will need to peak once January rolls around and not before like last season. Moving to the women's side of things, ASU comes into the 2018 season much like they did in 2017. Unlike Bobby Hurley, Charlie Turner-Thorne has many of her players back from last season. The women are ranked 23 in the AP preseason top 25. The rest of the Pac-12 figures to be just as good as last season, with Sabrina Ionesco-led Oregon coming in at number 3 in the country. The Ducks are one of 5 Pac-12 teams ranked to start the season, with number 7 Stanford, number 8 Oregon State, number 23 Arizona State, and number 24 California all getting the preseason recognition. OSU returns key scorers in Kat Tudor and Michaela Pivek to coach Scott Ruick's squad, and all the Pac-12 has a chance to be one of the most challenging conferences in women's college basketball this season, with the big dogs OSU, Stanford, and Oregon expected to go deep into March. But with big matchups on the preseason docket, including number 4 Baylor and number 5 Louisville, both of those coming early in this season, ASU will have a chance to get tested early and often and has a chance to get on that list as well as they shoot for their 6th consecutive NCAA tournament berth. It's shaping up to be a big season for college hoops in Tempe and all across the Pac-12, and we'll have all the coverage for you on Cronkite Sports Live and CronkiteSports.com. Back to you at the desk, guys.
Well, now we know about the rest of the Pac-12, and we're going to keep it hoops-oriented here for Sun Devil Social Media. For that, we bring in Mr. Rob Warner. Rob, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, guys, and I'm excited to do this social media edition coming right after Halloween. It's going to be especially fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So first tweet we got for you guys this week is coming from ASU men's basketball. They hosted Arizona Christian in an exhibition, and right here it looks like Sparky is trying to go at it with Arizona Christian's mascot, the Firestorm. And with this in mind, I want to ask you guys, who is one college mascot you guys do not want to go up against?
This one is easy. I'm going to go with Michigan State Sparty. I mean, have you seen the muscles on that guy? He really flexes hard. It's too easy for me.
Yeah, he's pretty buff. He's pretty strong, not going to lie. But there's nothing stronger than an elephant. Roll Tide. Got to go with Bama on and off the football field.
Roll Tide. All right, so second tweet we got is going on the other side of the court. ASU women's basketball. This is coming from Charlie Turner-Thorne on Halloween. Especially great tweet. I like this one. It's got all the coaches dressed up, coaches acting like children. My favorite thing. You got Power Rangers, flamingos. What Chance thought was a pickle, it's really a cactus. But I just love this, and it makes me want to ask you guys, what is the most embarrassing costume you guys have used for Halloween?
It's gonna have to be a sumo wrestler for me. Just a few years back, I had the ponytail, had the fan for the fat suit. It was the whole getup. It was fantastic.
We need to bring that. We need to bring that suit into this studio. Hashtag Sumo Eliav.
I'm never embarrassed about my costumes. I'm always dressed pretty smooth.
This guy.
Oh God. Oh God. Okay, we're gonna move into the third tweet though, and it is a tweet that was quoted by Ivan, an ASU basketball fan. The quote is of what's one thing y'all never want to lose, and Ivan says a basketball game to Bobby Hurley. So with this in mind, I want to ask you guys, who is one coach at ASU, any sport, that you would hate to lose a game to?
You know what? I'm going to agree with Ivan. I think that's a great choice. I mean, Hurley is a two-time champion. Plus, you know, he's so competitive. Why would you want to lose to him, right?
No, that's right, and we're going to keep both of our answers also basketball themed because I'm going with Charlie Turner-Thorne. Same way. She's very competitive, fierce competitor, and she's not going to give it up easy. So I'm just going to go up against CTT because I know I'm going to get every bit of that effort, and you know it's going to be a win well earned.
Yep.
There you go.
Great job, Rob. Now it's time to take a look at the schedules for the ASU men's and women's basketball teams. All right, first off, we'll take a look at the men's. Here you have Cal State Fullerton, McNeese State, Long Beach State, San Francisco, and a big game versus a ranked Mississippi State team. And then for the women's, Incarnate Word, Baylor, Arkansas, Louisville, and Southern Illinois. Eliav, we just took a look at their schedule. How do you see their first 5 games shaking out?
Well, not too many challenges, so they really need to capitalize because Chance, if anybody knows, this team knows, in conference is not easy.
Yep, they have a couple Cali schools, and then we know that their biggest test will come against Mississippi State. But I'm looking forward to the season. Should be a good one.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
For Eliav, goodbye. I'm Chancellor Johnson. Thanks for watching this special edition of Cronkite Sports Live. See you guys next time.